Hub Cities, folks. This season we're talking with millennials living in the 806, and we've been doing it from right here in Two Docs Brewing, and you guys are in for a treat because we have one of the docs with us. It's Eric Cunningham. Thanks for being here.
Oh, you bet. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. It's fun to hang out here and get to talk to everybody here in one of the, places in downtown to be, right?
Man, I'm honored. When you said, can we do it here? I'm like, absolutely. I love to show this place off. I'm proud of it. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a cool venue.
Yeah. So tell them a little bit about how this got started. It's Two Docs Brewing. So who's the other doc?
So the other doc is my cousin through marriage, Dr. Tyson Purdy. And so how this all came about was when I got back from vet school and he got back from medical school, we started hanging out because our wives are cousins. We're not technically cousins, but we call each other cousins. And so we're cousins by marriage. And we started hanging out and we started realizing that we both love craft beer. And at the time, in West Texas, there weren't just a whole lot of people that were really into craft beer. And we were kind of coming along at the same time as far as that goes. And I find out that he had actually brewed beer when he was in medical school in San Antonio doing his residency and things like that. And I was just about to start doing the same. So we were like, hey, let's get together and start brewing some beer. So we would go to his garage and bust out all of his equipment and make a whole day out of it. And it was brew day. And so we'd make a whole day out of it. And we'd bring our family over and our kids would play with their kids. And we started doing it and we were just messing around and we'd get the beer, but I mean, we were obviously very serious about it. But we'd get the beer and we're like, wow, this tastes pretty good, and one turned into 2 sessions and then 3 and 4 and 5. And after a while, we're like, wow, we're getting pretty consistent with this, and after you've had several beers, you're like, man, we should start a brewery in Lubbock,
Yeah, it sounds like the perfect idea,
honestly,
right?
Yeah, and it really was just something as dumb sounding as that. It's like, you know what? We should start a brewery in Lubbock. And we've got so much other stuff going on in our lives, So I was a practicing veterinarian. I'd already started Live Oak at that time, and he was working his job too. And so we got crazy lives, being husbands and fathers and stuff too. But nevertheless, we're like, yeah, we should do this. And, after a while, we kind of just started getting serious about it and saying, what if we got a team of guys around us, and what if we picked out a place and just kind of inched along towards it, and eventually it just kind of came into be a reality.
That's awesome. What made you guys decide on downtown?
It's a great question. So, I love to travel. Tyson loves to travel. And, most of the places where we go to a different city, we go downtown, hang out downtown. Downtown is kind of it's kind of the heartbeat of the city. It's kind of, if you're going to check the pulse of the town, you're going to go downtown. You're not going to go to the suburbs necessarily. You're going to go see what downtown has to offer. And so, I'm from Lubbock, and I always, when I would travel to another town, I'd be jealous of their downtown. Like, I wish Lubbock had something cool downtown, to kind of, where people could identify with that same feeling that I have when I went and traveled to other places, And so, just started looking downtown, and there was obviously the economic assistance for coming downtown, which is a big deal for us. They were offering some money to come downtown versus Southwest, so that was a great token to come down here and look down here. But really, it was more about just the mindset of where we wanted to be, and craft beer in general is kind of a little bit of a counterculture type movement, to some degree. It brings together all people, which is awesome. And I thought downtown should be a central location to bring all kinds of different people together. And so really, we were looking around, we saw this place, and we saw that there was an old warehouse. And honestly, Tyson and I came up here and we just fell in love with this building. And legit, like that night, we said a prayer. We're like, God, can we get this building, please? Can we make this happen? We would love for this to be our spot and to turn into something that Lubbock could be proud of. And so it all worked out. A lot of work, a lot of prayer, a lot of trying to get it to all come together, but it finally did. And I tell you, when I'm up here and I see people out there enjoying themselves and the place being full of people that are happy, it really makes me happy.
Yeah, y'all definitely started something. There's so much happening in downtown now, from new hotels going in to the Nicolette's opening soon. It's a new restaurant. Obviously, Cameron's doing his step with the West Table and Dirk's and all of that. So it's cool to see, all the people that are part of this huge movement in downtown. Obviously, like you said, the heart of the city. It's really exciting.
When Cameron got his place going at West Table, I was so happy because, it's such a great restaurant. They have great beer, great vibe, and so they really kind of got some things started down here. Triple J's been down here for a long time. We used to go down there a lot. Loved it when Italian Garden came down. So now, my wife and kids and I, when we're going out to eat, we really kind of like say, hey, let's go downtown. It's kind of a thing, and we can always go somewhere in Southwest Lubbock and it's great, but it's kind of a thing. It's a little bit more of an adventure to come downtown and just, we were driving here this last week. We were going to Italian Garden for my wife's birthday, and my 12-year-old son said, I just love Lubbock downtown. I just love it.
Oh
and I was
my
like,
gosh.
wow, okay, cool. He's like spitting image of me, just looking
That
for
must
everything
have
good about
made,
Lubbock.
your heart so happy.
Oh, I know. I was like, that's fantastic. So he loves downtown Lubbock. He just loves the feel of it, and that's kind of what we thought too.
Yeah, it's so cool y'all being in the arts district too.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, downtown's kind of the arts district and the business district and then the depot district. So you've got arts and music and business kind of all interwoven in downtown, but this is kind of the arts district, if you will. Can you speak to like craft brew as an art? You have it kind of throughout your brewery, obviously, and it truly is an art.
Yeah.
But what is it like brewing beer? And
one of the reasons why I love beer is because it really is kind of like designing a piece of art, and one of the things that got me wanting to brew in the first place was the idea that you can take a flavor profile, like a color of a beer, a flavor profile, kind of everything you want in that beer, and then put it into a glass through a lot of effort, time, hard work, and then you taste it 4 weeks later, and you're like, you measure it to what your original thought was, and how it was going to turn out, and you get to grade yourself on how well you did, and then even if it wasn't exactly what you liked, sometimes just like in art, sometimes the product you got is better than what you intended it to be, and so it really is. There's a lot of science involved with it, which is why Tyson and I think gravitated to it, but it also allows you to get your creative side out too. You've got to follow rules and steps, but you also get to play around with the ingredients, and you get to play around with, what do we want? When we're designing this beer, what do we want this beer to taste like, look like? What color do you want it to be? How much hops do you want? How much alcohol do you want in there? Is going to be crisp? Is going to be sweet? All that kind of stuff. So just like an artist or a musician might, come up with a song or a painting, you have to take that idea from your head, and then in this case, you put it in a glass, and you get to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And so it really is, we latched onto that idea of beer as art early on. And when we came down in the arts district, we thought that's just a perfect marriage. Right down from the new Buddy Holly Hall.
Yeah.
So legend has it, and I'm not going to dispel the legend at all, that Buddy Holly and the Crickets in our warehouse out there in the parking lot, that they used to rehearse out there.
Really?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you hold on to that legend. Yeah.
I mean, let's just say it's true. I'm just going to say
it's true. No one's,
I mean, I've gone in there before, and I have felt Buddy Holly's presence in there for sure.
Yeah.
So, no, but I mean, so there's a lot of artistic vibe down here. And, another thing we have to shout out to too is that the First Friday Art Trail, when I moved back from vet school in 2006, that was one thing that my wife and I started doing every month, is coming down to the art trail. And so being involved in all this, and I just was so proud of Lubbock that we were getting something together where people were getting together downtown and enjoying something other than just the usual stuff. And it was really an exciting time for Lubbock, I thought, because I could see that downtown was going to become a thing even, 10 years ago or so. And so that's why we were a little bit more comfortable coming down here with the business.
Yeah. So when someone stops by, what are some of the beers they can try?
Oh, man. Well, we got... So right
what
now
are you drinking right now? What's that?
This is our Doctoberfest.
Okay.
It is fantastic. So this is it's Two Docs Doctoberfest, play on words obviously, and so it's an Oktoberfest beer. Oktoberfest, traditionally, there's two types of Oktoberfest beers that people drink. Like when you talk about Oktoberfest, you go into Munich and get the big tents and all the people in the costumes and the giant steins of beer and stuff. So there's two usual types of beer that they serve over there, more than two, but the main ones are either a Marzen lager, which is going to be kind of like that orange, that deep, dark orange, almost a little bit sweet type of a beer. And then there's some that it's called a Fest beer, and a Fest beer is going to be a lighter lager. It's going to be a little bit more hoppy with those German noble hops, and be a little bit lighter. So Jason, our brewer, best brewer that I've ever seen in my life. He's fantastic. He knows everything there is to know about beer. I'm opinionated, don't know near as much about beer, but I was like, dude, I want people to think that they're drinking an Oktoberfest that's like one of those American orange things. And he was like, no, I want the German thing. So we collaborated kind of with the idea and just said, let's just split the difference and let's kind of mix a Marzen and let's mix a Fest beer. And in my opinion, it's one of my all-time favorite beers. It's fantastic. Yeah. Sadly, I think I just kicked the entire keg, so I think we're about done for this year. This might be the last Oktoberfest that you can find, unless you find it at one of our accounts, one of the restaurants. But it's a balance. You get a nice, orange You know, it's got a great kind of amberish color to it.
Yeah, it's pretty color.
Yeah, it's a beautiful color. It's not too sweet, but it's not too dry either. It's just a good blend. It's very easy to drink.
Yeah. I may challenge you though. This Buddy Hoppy this IPA is incredible.
Thank you.
It's really easy to drink too.
That's an all-time favorite of mine, I think. And so like that beer in particular, like I had an idea for that beer, and before we even started the brewery, that Tyson and I brewed a beer that was similar to that, not nearly as well done as Jason can do, but we brewed a beer similar to that. And the inspiration for that beer was there's a beer. One of my favorite breweries is Deschutes. It's Deschutes is out of Bend, Oregon, and they have a beer called Fresh Squeezed IPA. It's fresh squeezed because when you smell, it smells a lot like fresh squeezed, you know, lemons, oranges, all that citrus stuff. And it's a big beer. It's a 7% beer, but it goes down very, very smooth. So it's got, you see all that color it's got. It's very similar to the Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
So it's got a good malty backbone to it, and so it hides some of those hops. So it's very, very aggressively hopped, but because it's not so light in color, it balances it out and it makes it nice and smooth.
Yeah, sure. And then you'll have Lubbock Lights.
Lubbock
right?
Light. Yep, Lubbock Light, which is kind of play on words from the Lubbock Lights alien thing, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's just it's a traditional German Helles lager. Really easy to drink, smooth, but you're going to find that even though it says light beer, it's a lot more flavorful than just, you know, your basic Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors Light, Ultra type stuff. It's got some good flavor to it, goes down easy, and it's really good. You can drink a lot of it too without, you know, getting hammered, so it's good.
So Lubbock's also known for their iconic cocktail, the Chilton. Y'all kind of do your own twist on that.
Yep.
Which it's the Chilton
Gosa.
Gosa. Okay,
Gosa.
I was not about to attempt to say that word. I knew I was going to totally mess it up.
So I mean, it's funny because you'll hear Chilton Ghost. I hear a lot of, I like that Ghost beer, you know. That's how my father-in-law says it. I like that Ghost beer.
How funny.
But, you know, so you got Chilton Gosa, and that's just kind of so my wife, one of her favorite drinks is a Chilton, obviously. Everybody around here loves a Chilton.
Yeah.
You know, it's tart, it's refreshing, it's sour, it's a little bit salty. And so when Tyson and I were messing around in the backyard doing some Gosas, we thought, you know, a Chilton would be a great name for that because it's the same things. It's lemony, it's salty, it's sour, it's refreshing. So we thought that it would be a perfect beer for this area.
Yeah. We all definitely champion craft beer here.
Cool.
I'm curious what you love so much about Lubbock. Like, you've done so much in downtown. You can obviously see your heart for Lubbock. And I just am curious where that comes from.
You know, I love Lubbock. I always have. I don't know where it started other than the fact that I'm from here. I always wanted other people to see what I saw in Lubbock in terms of how much I loved living here. And when I was a little kid, I was actually a member of the Buddy Holly fan club.
Were you really?
And
awesome.
I thought it was just so cool that there was like this big superstar from Lubbock. And I was like, did everybody know that Buddy Holly's from Lubbock? I mean, come on, this is fantastic. So I loved Buddy Holly music when I was a kid. You know, grew up a diehard Red Raider, started going to football games when I was 5 years old. And other than the 4 years where I was in vet school, I don't think I've missed more than 1 or 2 home games my entire life since I was 5. When I was in vet school, the people there I was always talking about Lubbock, and they called me the mayor of Lubbock or the future mayor of Lubbock. And one time I was telling that to Dan Pope, and he said, "You know what? You can have it."
Yeah,
it's
like, when do you want to run? Just tell me.
Yeah, exactly. So really, a lot of my motivation in this was I really honestly just wanted to do something that would make Lubbock proud.
Yeah.
And when I started Live Oak Animal Hospital, it was the same thing. Just wanted to do the best that I could do and bring in good people, good partners to do it with me that all had similar values and just wanted to do the best we could for our community. And, you know, getting to do it at Live Oak was super, super special. It still is. And then getting to start this, you know, kind of on the side as well, it's fantastic. Just kind of a dream come true. So it's really cool. And like I said, the thing that makes me the happiest is just seeing people out here, you know, having a good time and really just kind of seeing something that's different than what they're used to. I get a big kick out of people when they travel from out of town to come here too, because they're like, man, this is amazing. I didn't even feel like I was in Lubbock. This is really, really cool, you know?
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, when you add like the beer with the live music and the food trucks you'll have out here, it's so fun to come out on the weekends and enjoy. You mentioned people who maybe haven't been here in a while. What would you say to someone who, you know, maybe they're from Lubbock, maybe they went to Texas Tech, they haven't been back in a few years, and they're thinking about maybe making a change in their career, or they maybe want something different looking forward?
Man, Lubbock is a great place. Honestly, I could live anywhere, and this is where I choose to live. Not just because I have family here and things like that, but your quality of life here is just absolutely fantastic. People are nice, and I tell you, in the veterinary world, I see people all the time, and people from out of town. That's without a doubt. They're blown away with how nice everybody is here, and so when you talk about your quality of life, your interactions with people is a big part of that, I think, and you kind of, when you travel off to a big city, and I love traveling to big cities, but when you see how people interact with people in New York or Washington, D.C. or something like that, it's just different than they interact with people here,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's a huge part. Economically, I think that things are really, really great here. We have such a diverse stream of revenue for the city in terms of, you got farming, you got medical, you got Texas Tech, you've got retail from the surrounding communities that come in, you got restaurants, entertainment. You've got all kinds of different ways that the economy can be supported, and that's why I think that Lubbock, usually stays pretty steady. There's not a whole lot of ups and downs. We've always been pretty steady as far as that goes, and that's a great benefit. Knowing you have some stability there. I love the fact that when I was in College Station, I mean, aside from the fact that there are mosquitoes the size of small birds, and the fact that it's 187 degrees with 90% humidity all the time, the dry weather climate here is fantastic, and so. Just so many wonderful things about Lubbock.
Yeah, you're perfectly located. If you want to, go to the beach or go to the Metroplex or go skiing, I mean, you're right there. You can get anywhere you need to.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. On behalf of everyone, thank you for the good beer that you make.
Good.
It's
I'm glad you like
amazing.
it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
appreciate your investment in downtown. It really means a lot.
Oh, you bet. Thank you.
So.
Thank you guys for supporting us. I appreciate it.
Of course. Make sure you check out Two Docs when you're in Lubbock, Texas, here in downtown. I personally recommend the Buddy Hoppy IPA, but anyone you pick, you're going to be impressed. So for more stories like Eric and his partners here at Two Docs, check out lubbockeda.org/podcast.